Hi, everyone. It's Candace Craw-Goldman from quantumhealers.com, back again with another question of the week. This question came in via email that I printed up right here so I can read it directly. Hi, Candace. I'm enjoying the Quantum Connect course immensely. That's great. I'm thinking about taking the BQH course too, but I have a couple of questions first. What is the shortest BQH session I could offer a client? I keep seeing long sessions offered. That wouldn't work for me as a client or as a practitioner. She goes on to say that I need to stay hydrated and relieve my bladder often. Plus, sitting for long is not healthy for me. As a 65-year-old, I put my health first. And I'm glad you put your health first because that's important. And I try to do that as well. And I have a lot of things to talk about here in regards to your email. So first of all, BQH is a very flexible modality, and there are practitioners who limit and even time their sessions. I don't happen to be one of those people. I like being open-ended, so my sessions are very variable in length, but there are those practitioners who have decided to cap their BQH sessions, within a particular time frame. Some of the shortest sessions I hear of people offering are 2 or 3 hour sessions. And just recently, as a matter of fact, not very long ago, I had a spectacular session with incredible healing with a client who had cancer, actually, who came back and had a wonderful PET scan. Results happen just a few weeks after we had the session. And that session, start to finish, was just over 2 hours, maybe closer to 2.5 hours from start to finish. I mean, in the door, out the door. That was a pretty quick session for me. So you can do it in that amount of time. Now, she says that she needs to stay hydrated and relieve my bladder often. Well, you and me both. And, we're a lot like that. And luckily, BQH was designed to work with water. Absolutely designed to work with water. We use a water alchemy process within the session. We understand and we operate under the assumption and this idea that water is liquid consciousness and that the human battery needs water to connect with the higher and expanded consciousness levels that we have access to. If you stay dehydrated, you actually kind of disconnect from some of those levels. Water is incredibly important. And it used to be a very old way of thinking about this was limit your water. Now we're talking clients and we're talking to practitioners. Limit your water. Why? So there wouldn't be interruptions. Dolores Cannon actually used to teach this. She used to say, now we don't want to be drinking too much water because we don't want to interrupt the session. I have come to understand and practice in exactly the opposite way. I like my clients to drink plenty of water. I like to drink plenty of water. And here's the really important part. Getting up and relieving yourself during the interview process or even during the session proper where somebody's in a trance state or a relaxed state. That cleans the energy. It helps the energy flow. If you're there to release something, release pain, release a disease, release anger, or release trauma, during the session and actually getting up and using the restroom helps make that happen. And I have lots and lots of stories about that. So we encourage water drinking and we encourage stopping the session or pausing the session and getting up and using the restroom. And this is for practitioners too. And this is really important. This is a huge part of BQH. You want the practitioner and the client to be in the same energetic place to support, the goal of the session, right? So if you as a client are trying to release something, and then you have a practitioner who may have a bladder that's full or needing to get up and use the restroom, and that practitioner is gripping, do you see how there's a disconnect? The practitioner is gripping, is holding on energy, right? Or expressing holding on energy while maybe even saying, let that stuff go, right? So it makes a lot of sense to me to just keep the water going and keep water coming in and going out as needed. And it's not always that the case that sessions are interrupted in this way, but just knowing that that's okay and it makes no difference at all and can be the very positive part of the session helps create that acceptance. Okay. And speaking of moving, I'm not 65, but I'm close to it. I'm 62. Sitting's the new smoking, they say. Sitting still, especially us older folk, we tend to get stiff. I can't do it either. It hurts, especially during the winter, and it's cold outside, baby. It's like -1 right now. You can't sit still, or I can't sit still. And it's another thing I talk to my client about. I, either in Zoom sessions or in-person sessions, will say, now look, to help keep the energy moving, I may stand up, I may sit down. You may hear, even with your eyes closed, my voice sort of moving around the room a little bit. Sometimes I'm even helping the energy move like this by using my hands, and this is perfectly acceptable. You may see some people, as a matter of fact, who get into a beautiful theta state or a deep alpha state during channeling, and they're rocking back and forth sort of with a rhythmic motion. Some practitioners anyway, tend to have some of that going on, especially during the healing portion of a session. It helps keep everything moving. So once again, not a problem to move around a little bit, not as a client and not as a practitioner. Some clients do lay perfectly still from start to finish in a session. It's less noticeable. It's less common than it used to be that people get into that not going to move a muscle deep state. And why is that? Well, I have this personal opinion, this personal idea, plus my experience as a practitioner in thousands of sessions over all these years, tells me that humans really are expanding and evolving and are able to reach these altered states of consciousness, these expanded states of consciousness, without having to go to the deepest levels of trance. This is good news, okay? This is really good news. All right, so I hope that helps, and I hope that answers questions for some of you all out there who may be thinking about either having a BQH session or taking the BQH course. Now, if you're looking for a practitioner, whether it's for the quicker quantum connect, wide awake process, or BQH, or QHHT, or any number of other kinds of energy and healing practitioners, please check us out on quantumhealers.com. And if you're a practitioner and looking for an open-minded community with horizontal learning between practitioners without any hierarchy or drama or dogma, join us. Join us at quantumhealers.com. Thanks. Till next time. See you next week.